Very good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to Sunday BGF. Good morning, Ayah Sumangala.
Good morning.
Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us Venerable Sumangala. Before we introduce Venerable, we would like, maybe let me give a short introduction for Venerable Sumangala. And then after that, Venerable will lead the Buddha Puja and then carry on with her talk. The title for today's talk will be Overcoming Distractions Towards Noble Practice. The reason we chose this talk is because how many times have you noticed that people look at their handphones every day? Easily 100 times a day? So these are, and besides handphone, we also go to the internet, computer, and we seem to be doing a lot of multiplexing work. So multitasking. So today, Venerable will be sharing with us how to overcome this type of modern distractions towards our practice. Venerable Sumangala Bhikkhuni was ordained in 2008 under Venerable Mahinda Mahathera and took her higher ordination in 2015 under Chief Saranankara Nayaka Mahathera. She is the president of Arya Vihara Buddhist Society, which is currently raising funds for their new Bhikkhuni monastery and training center in Sungai Buloh. Venerable Sumangala has pioneered and conducts the Arya Rainbow Kids program, a holistic Dhamma education program for the whole family. Her tagline is, everyone can meditate, living skillfully by the Dhamma and discover truth. Now, just like we address monks as Bante, when addressing Venerable, we can use the term Ayah, which also means respected teacher. So over to you, Ayah Sumangala.
Morning, Sekehota. So let us compose our mind and connect our heart to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha as we gather in this beautiful morning to connect to the Triple Gem and to connect to what is noble in our mind and in our heart. So we pay respect to the Triple Gem, to the Buddha, the Worthy One, the Blessed One, and the fully enlightened one, to the Dhamma, the noble teaching, the noble Eightfold path that leads to the ultimate freedom and happiness, and to the Sangha, the noble disciples of the Buddha, the unsurpassed field of merits for the world. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Buddhang saranam gacchami. Dhammang saranam gacchami. Sanghang saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha as my refuge. I go to the Dhamma as my refuge. I go to the Sangha as my refuge. Dutiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranam gacchami. For a second time, I go to the Buddha as my refuge. For a second time, I go to the Dhamma as my refuge. For a second time, I go to the Sangha as my refuge. Tatiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami. gacchami. Tadiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tadiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. For a third time, I go to the Buddha as my refuge. For a third time, I go to the Dhamma as my refuge. For a third time, I go to the Sangha as my refuge. Panatipata Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Miccachara Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Musawada Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Surameraya Majjapamadhatthana Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. With deeds of love and compassion, I purify my action. With selfless giving, I purify my action. With moderation and contentment, I purify my action. With truthful words, I purify my speech. With clear mindfulness and calmness, I purify my thought. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu. So, dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, this morning we gather together here and to have a session where we can ennoble our mind to the Dhamma and to the noble practice. And today's topic is overcoming distraction towards noble practice. So firstly, I think it's important for us to know what do we mean by noble or noble practice. So when we hear the word noble, naturally our mind is inclined to something good, virtuous. So if you see the word noble, is always defined. Some may have the thoughts of nobility, people who are noble, or some may have not exposed to what a noble person is, but when they hear the word, is something supreme, something good, something high and excellent, and so sometimes we may connect with, in the worldly terms, we may think about people who have high ranking, or people are in power, or people who are wealthy, people who are smart, and so this is where we see it as the worldly condition, But when they say noble, in our perspective of the Dhamma, that which uplift the mind, noble means supreme quality of the mind, meaning the excellent state of mind and the virtuous mind, and this actually empower one, not to only have these qualities in their mind, but it can transform in their speech, in their daily actions, and that helps them to be able to live a fruitful life, a happy life, a successful life, and also leading them to higher spirituality and leading them to peace and freedom. So in short, when we say noble practice, the Buddha has taught us in his quest of enlightenment, yeah, and his finding, his discovery, and that the way to enlightenment. And these are the noble path, the noble practice that can lead one to that highest state that is called liberation or freedom, yeah, from suffering. So in this noble path or noble practice, it always starts with a very simple conviction, yeah, that to know that it is possible that a human can reach to that state, that noble state, that high state, that excellent state that the Buddha has actually reached. And the Buddha, in that way, out of compassion, show us the way, yeah, how we can, each and every one of us, yeah, if we walk this path, if we follow or practice this path, that can lead us to what each and every one always wish, yeah, to have freedom, to have happiness, to have well-being, yeah. So how can we lead ourselves to this noble practice? So the Buddha said, is none other by following the middle path. So in the first teaching of the Buddha, compassion for the world, for the benefit, for the happiness, and for the well-being of God's and man, the Buddha has actually, first step that the Buddha said that we need to really understand is, number one is to free ourselves. Don't go to the extreme of indulgence or addiction in sensual pleasure. Second thing is, don't also get to the extreme of self-mortification. These two extremes, according to the Buddha, does not lead to well-being. Yeah, the first one, if when a person is addicted, yeah, to the sensual pleasure, and they go to the extreme of it, indulge in it, and the Buddha say it actually leads to it is low, yeah, and it is also binary, and it brings pain, and also it brings harm, and it brings one to suffering, and means unworthy, unprofitable. Whereas self-mortification will lead to pain, also is unworthy and also unprofitable. So this is the first teaching of the Buddha, that one should not go to the extreme or addicted to sensual pleasure, neither to self-mortification. And then through this, then the Buddha said, then what is the way that we can practice? If we don't go to these two extremes, then the way is the middle way. So this middle way is the noble practice that leads to what everyone wish, yeah? Well-being, happiness, and of benefit. Yeah? So this is none other than the Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah? So the Noble Eightfold Path has 8 factors. So the first factors is about having a right view. So this is so important as to have right view. Then it will help us to condition us to have the right thoughts. And from the right thoughts, it will condition us also to have right speech. And also from right speech, it will condition us to have right bodily actions. And from the bodily actions that we do, it will also lead us to have a right livelihood, the way we live. Yeah. And from this right livelihood, then we have also the condition to have right effort, yeah, to do the right things and to abandon the unwholesome thing. And from right effort, it leads us to the right mindfulness about our body and our mind, so that we have the way of living in the present and finding the peace and freedom. And from right mindfulness, then it will lead us to right samadhi. Right samadhi is a state of mind that is very focused, relaxed, joyful, energized, and bright, and happy, and equanimous. So These are the steps that the Buddha said that we can practice. It is noble because it leads us out there from the cycle of suffering. So firstly, as we define, what is noble practice, these are in summary that we can have some idea that how this way of practice or living by this way of practice can lead us to happiness, to well-being, and to benefit, and to freedom. So next, I'd like to define, when we talk about noble practice, and what are the distractions today that cause us not to be able to fulfill our wish of well-being, of happiness, and of freedom. As we know that the data show us, that there are more and more people who are stressed. There are more and more people who are having depression, and there are also more suicidal cases. So why is it so that people do not able to fulfill their noble wish of well-being, of happiness, and of freedom? So of course, we can see that these are due to distraction in life, and how this can be overcome. So what is distraction actually? Distraction is something that block your way to fruitful way of life, or your way of living in comfort towards peace. And the distraction that can comes from many forms. And if in other ways that we can see the word distraction can means what we intend to do is diverted, or interrupted, or disturbed, or there's an intrusion, in doing what we need to do, and also there are interference, there are obstruction, there are hindrances. So there are many fine little connection, when we talk about distraction. And there are also distraction that distract us from being able to focus. We cannot concentrate. It prevents us from concentrating or focusing on something that is important and or that is essential in life. And also distraction also is a kind of things that can happen inside the mind. That is extreme agitation of the mind, that you lose control over your mind. So the mind becomes distressed, sometimes a bit insane, deranged, or you have confusion and just agitated. So these are the things that we have to know, that how distraction can affect the mind. And distraction can also comes from external or internal. For example, external, as we can see in today's life, the noise from outside can be an external distraction. Even the visual of the external things that move around, and that can become a distraction to us when we want to focus on something. For example, let's say you look at a computer. In the past, you can very focus when you read email, but nowadays there are a lot of advertisement is being put, and so you want to focus on your reading something, there will be something keep popping up, right? So then your attention is being distracted, and when you're not careful, then instead of reading your email or trying to reply, then you get distracted to something else. So that can be also not only noise, but a visual popping, visual movement that distract our mind. So the mind distraction also can be internal, such as when we think too much, then the rumination in our mind, repeating something and trying to making and proliferate something in the mind. And that brings a lot of stress and also fatigue. Yeah, so distraction of the mind means we cannot think straight. Yeah, so this distraction can be caused by many factors. Yeah, and because of certain things, then we lost interest in the primary essential thing, and then we are not able to pay attention. Yeah, due to various reasons, and or there's an intensity of the distractor. So we have to be very aware of what it is, and so when we are not able to focus our mind, this is where distraction can cause a lot of harm in our life. So now when we look at today's way of life, in the past, we have less distraction. So today I think the intensity of the distractor is so great that everyone that is in contact with this distractor are actually absorbed, and they lost their ability to focus in what is essential, or in their work, or in their personal life, or in their family, and therefore it affects the whole community, the whole nation, and the whole world. Today, let's take, for example, when we say about how it distracts our life into the noble practice. For example, now if you look into the internet, interestingly, when you Google the search, the word noble in the past, in the 19th century, was at the peak, and subsequently up to 2019, this word was very minimally mentioned. And the word virtual, the virtual reality, virtual, this word means something very near enough, like the reality, but it's not reality. But this word virtual reality, in the past it was not much known, and to indicate that it's very near to something reality, or in the past people think of the virtue, but now no, virtual, this word, in the past it was not known, but today, in just probably 0.33 seconds, you can have over 2 billion results. The word noble, it becomes very less, but the word virtual becomes magnified. It's a lot, and so you can't imagine, there are billions of them. So now we are living in such world that we call virtual reality. So when we talk about noble practice, about leading a life out from suffering, out from difficulty, out from delusion, out from excessive craving, and out from hatred. Now we are into this world that aggravate and promote and getting us indulged in it. So how do we actually see this? How does it affect our life? So the main thing is that we have to understand that now, of course, the internet availability are day by day increasing, and day by day the speeds are even faster than ever, and it reach out to people worldwide. Whether you are in a remote place, they can reach you too. And so this is a transformation that has happening so fast that it provides people near to what they dream of. But is it reality? Is it noble? Or is it worthy of practice? And if it is, then the world should be actually, although it's so much so-called connected, but the rise of unhappiness, the rise of stress, the rise of psychological, what they call challenge, mental disorder, and also the rise of people taking their life has been increasing. So is this the way? If it's the way, then it should have answered. But from what we have seen, it is not the way. So how can we overcome this? And it is important to know so that we check ourselves whether that we are one of them too, or we are able to come out from this distraction, so that we can lead a noble practice, a noble way of life that brings our well-being, that brings protection to us, and also well-being and protection to our loved ones, to our family, to our friends and relatives, and generally to the whole world. So firstly, I think when we look at this, we have to see how this distraction in the world today is so great that people are swinging about and people are into it without knowing the repercussion of the effect. So for whatever that happens, there's a cause and effect and condition. So we are into the world of what we call hyper-connected. A hyper-connected world, meaning each and every day, each and every time that we are in, from morning to night, if you look into our life, how are we, changed by technology? Technology actually is a gift, but the misuse of it, can be disastrous. So, for example, when you don't have internet at the beginning, your life is quite free. You are quite humane. You can contact with people quite easily. You talk and you discuss. You come up with things, and you can focus in your work quite easily. But today, when you start to connect your life with internet, you can see your life, your behavior start to change. So what are the changes that happen? You can see that when you have internet, it start to influence the way you speak, the way you behave, the way you spend your time in your life daily, and the way you interact with other people. And there are so many things that start to make your behavior change, and it change your life. For example, in the past, maybe you have like our own experience. You can see that when they get connected with people, it's for certain specific purpose, and there are ways and means and time of doing things, of completing a task. But when in the past, when we have received something to come into our, let's say, daily life or working space, we have the order of things to be done, and we take times to actually spend time to investigate, to look into the matter, and to look into the best that we can actually hands-on and to deliver. But today, we can see that whatever task that comes in, I have the last time, one of my devotees shared with me that just by the internet thing, when the colleague send her email to do something, and because she was also doing something, and she answered the email about 1 hour later because she needs to do some research before answering. And when she called back, she emailed back, she got scolded just because they want instant reply. So in this way that we can see that internet has changed people's what they call mind, to be very impatient and to want to do what they want to do, and to want to have instant gratification. So even in dealing with something important, they want instant gratification, instant answer. So in this way, that is not real. That is not what reality is. Yeah, in everything that we do, there is a way, a means, and a time span for the what they call presenting the best result that we can. But each and every one become more individual, and because of that, they just see themselves. So this self-promotion, self-idea aggravation, it is happening throughout the world. And that's where, because of impatience, people can cause a lot of trouble to themselves and also cause trouble to others. And because impatience promotes ill will. Impatience promotes self-aggravation. And that's why even more and more things are invented, innovated to promote, to aggregate the idea of self. Yeah, so and it becomes leading to selfishness, self-centeredness, and because of this, this is where a lot of troubles, can start to surface, and without knowing, people are actually living by that kind of state of mind. And of course, it doesn't bring well-being to them. It causes a lot of trouble and problem, unhappiness, upset, and because this is not really the way of how we live our life. So from Internetic, we can see that of the hyper-connectedness, of the speed that derail our reality of how a person, a human, live life. Yeah. But what is the purpose actually of life? Yeah, the purpose of life to a lot of people, yeah, we seek for blessings, but we do not know what is truly bring blessings in life and the true purpose in our life. So by this, we have to understand, yeah, if the purpose of life is to seek happiness and freedom, this has not bring that fulfillment of that purpose. And so how does this actually bring about the derailment of our purpose in life? So we have to be clear that in order to be able to fulfill our noble practice, we must have a purpose of life. And this purpose of life that we are talking about is basically the freedom that each and everyone is seeking for. So, but what are the ways and how we can fulfill this purpose? We must be first clearly set up a course of practice, an aim, a purpose, that in order for us to achieve the noble state of mind that brings about well-being, happiness, and benefit, we have to have in mind that at least we must have the noble eightfold path in mind for our practice. Now, we have this purpose in mind, but if we are actually exposed back to this, our daily life with all the internet and technology, then we have to always have in check what do we practice and how this practice can lead us to the well-being, and how this practice can be distracted, and so that we will be able to always stay on track on the noble practice. So just now I just mentioned about how this connectivity, or hyper connectedness with the internet can cause one's change in your behavior, in the way you live your life, your lifestyle, and there are many things that may change without you knowing. So firstly, you have to look back and reflect. Does your life change in this manner when you have the internet? That you, instead of doing things that you need to do, you frequent the handphones or internet more often than not. Firstly, a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists, yeah, have actually seen this effect and impact on different groups of people. Yeah? And so firstly, we look at how it impacted, yeah, beside getting angry, upset, and all those things. You can see that this particular matter has actually bring worries, yeah, to many nations and governments that who have put forth, yeah, some exercise and ways and means to help their people to overcome this internet addiction. So in the past, that in our practice, we define addictions as like alcohol or, you know, addiction or drug addiction, yeah. And nowadays, it actually extends to also, yeah, internet addiction. And in the past, this is just a beginning of a technology that's so excited that people are looking forward to. And it is indeed if you use it properly. But when you don't use it properly, you abuse it. Just like the Buddha mentioned, yeah, for a lay person, yeah, to be able to practice the way of noble practice, then they won't be distracted by a few things that can derange their well-being and also bringing ruin to them. So, for example, the psychiatrists and the psychologists found out that, you know, because of this internet addiction, that people are actually going through. If you look at the life of the people today, so from very young, yeah, young children, yeah, even 2-3 years old, they are put to interneting, to digital exposure very early in their life. And this technology that people put in front of the child, they just become like their toys, yeah, they're playing toys, but they do not know what is the impact and effect on the children, yeah. So there are many research that have shown that children, yeah, who are exposed to this internet or technology in the very early days, they became very isolated, yeah, and they became more and more isolated in front of computer. Actually, we are thinking that they're very engaged, yeah, but no, in real life they are more and more isolated. Because why? They are not communicating or responding to people. They are actually sitting in front of a computer, very isolated as a human, in front of a computer, sitting with a screen, and there's no playing with other people, yeah, and don't know how to play with others or connect with others, and don't know how to collaborate with others. But all they know is that they become actually very isolated, and they do more a lot of scrolling, screening, scheming. They are not reading, yeah, but they are scrolling with their hands, yeah, and their fingers. And so in this way, yeah, they see a lot of things, but they do not actually learn in a way of how the learning process that take place in reality. Having learned something, then we actually put it into practice, yeah. And so because in this way, when they don't learn reading by line and pondering, digesting, and then putting into practice, yeah, and evaluating and getting the right things, yeah, right skills or right knowledge. So children, when you put them into this, yeah, so these are the generation that we are producing. They became very isolated. So with the hyper-connectedness, but very lonely, isolated, yeah. And so the skills, the really learning that is happening would be something that is very personal, face-to-face, yeah. So now we can also understand, especially during this CMCO, there were a lot of people trying to use internet to teach, yeah. But I can understand that many teens, children, they are not actually learning. Because why? One, they can on the computer, they can sign in, but on the other side, you know, they can do browsing here and there. So they are not actually paying attention to the learning. Whereas in the classroom learning, you are in a setting of learning, you will see that people are actually putting their attention for learning. Yeah, and they do all the processes of learning, to listen, to acquire the understanding, to ponder about it, to evaluate about it, and to try it out, demo, test it out, and get the knowledge and skills of it. So you can see that these are very different, yeah, from the actual learning condition and the learning through just interneting. Yeah, you may get some idea or surface idea, but in engagement, in the collaboration, in the whole experience of doing something and really acquiring that knowledge and skills, that actually needs the human touch, yeah, and the way to acquire this true knowledge, so that they'll be able to empower themselves, to live or to do it in reality. So there are a lot of virtual things, virtual reality. And so in learning, especially for the children, or even for a company, for exercising true understanding and knowledge, this still are lacking. Yeah. So in the real way, for children, it is always important for parents to start, yeah, having that kind of connection with them, instead of putting them just to the handphones or iPad. Yeah. So these are a very important thing. We have to know what distracts us from actually really having our well-being, our happiness, and the freedom. Yeah. So the second thing is about, yeah, besides on the educational part and getting involved with our children and helping them to develop the mind of connectedness with human being, and the actual learning curve and learning acquisition, yeah, and of the knowledge and skills and wisdom. The second one is that even for parents, yeah, we have to see that today we have those like Facebook mom, we have all those people involved in many things, and so this Facebook mom, sometimes they are so engrossed with their Facebook, engrossed with their internet, they may also neglect their duty as a mother. Sometimes forget to pick up their children, or forget to cook dinner for them, or forget, you know, to guide and coach the children because of their addiction to this internet. Yeah. And some, of course, they also, because of this addiction to Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, they also engage themselves late into the night. And so that also is a trouble, because when the person do not have enough sleep, they could not think straight. Yeah. So when we cannot think straight, how are we going to fulfill our wish or purpose of something good, or something brings us to well-being and freedom? And also you can see the addiction. Some, they are addicted to gambling. You also have internet gambling, and these are the not just virtual, but when the money is transferred, that is real. Yeah. So but people are not aware of this, but when they play, and so then they get into trouble, into bankruptcy. So again, it's through the internet again that is available for them to do all kinds of things that in the past maybe they cannot be accessed to if they don't go to the, let's say, casino. But now you can have a virtual casino. Yeah. And also for those who are into the phonography, it also cause a lot of problems. If they do that in the office, they see that in the office, they also risk being fired. If they do it at home, they may risk themselves for you know, divorce. Yeah. So a lot of things that change our behavior in life with the excessive interneting, especially the addiction. Yeah. So we have to be very aware of all these things, and especially how we make good use of the internet. Instead of become a distraction, how can we make good use of it, yeah, to become something that enhance our life, And so this is very important to know, and also we must know the discipline about it. So can we live without internet, let's say, in order for us to have a noble practice? Well, in our era, you will say, yes, we may not be able, because you have to know certain skills of the technology in order to function in your work now. But can we do something so that we are not distracted? Yeah. So all these are distractions that can cause a lot of difficulties in life. Like the Buddha said, yeah, not only now that we have this internet to distract us, or rather it is because of our greed, hatred, and delusion, or rather our ignorance, that actually cause us not to be able to practice the noble practice. So the Buddha said, whatever that we are into, we have to check our mind with these three important things that hinder us. That is craving, yeah, and then also ill will and delusion. So because of our ignorance, we don't know how impactful, yeah, that the internet, or can affect our life, can change our behavior, can lead us to unwell, and physically, also emotionally, and mentally, and spiritually. So in order to be able to overcome that, we first must know what is a noble practice and what distracts us, and how we can overcome it. Yeah. So as we know that in our time, yeah, even now as we live in this era, some government has taken initiative, yeah, to overcome this while we adopt the technology, but there are ways and means to educate people, yeah, to make sure that they still, practice those good qualities of, for example, even as a boss, let's say you want to hire people, who are responsible, disciplined, integrated, yeah, and then they are kind, friendly, they are flexible, they can communicate well, and they are able to work in a team. So these are the qualities we are looking forward to. And in our home also, I think we will cherish, yeah, people who are responsible. They do their duty well, whether as a husband or wife, as children or parents, or whether as educators or students, yeah, or whether between friends and friends, and whether towards monastic or lay people. So all these, yeah, we look forward for good qualities, noble qualities in someone that we trust can do a good job or produce good results. And so it is so important for us to know how things distract us and put back our proper way of doing things, yeah, according to the principles that brings about well-being. So when we do something, of course, when we see the mind, we may think that we cannot quantify it, but actually we can quantify things, yeah, from the behavior. So for example, in the past, that if you are doing your internet thing, yeah, one day you have to scroll so many times, yeah, it can be like 50 times, 100 times per day. Do you really need to do so? Is it so important and essential? Yeah, I still remember, even as in the past, the President Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore, yeah? And I remember I read something about him that, yes, every day he's doing, he's checking on the whether emails and all those things that people email for him. But as a president, I believe he is a very busy person, but he is very disciplined. In one day, he only do probably 3 times. After his meal, he spend probably half hour to 1 hour to read and answer the email. And that's all that he do in the replying or answering on the internet. And this is a very disciplined thing, yeah. So we ask ourselves, is it important? I have also a devotee, she followed me to a retreat, And for 1 month, I told her, you know, put away your handphone. And they were very good. They put away their handphone for 1 month. So they don't see. But after 1 month, yeah, but before we come back to Malaysia, then of course they start to on their handphone. And surprisingly, you know how many WhatsApp she received? About 1,000, probably 1,200 WhatsApp. Yeah, and if you look back to those WhatsApp, is it important? You still live your life, but if you were to attend to those WhatsApp, then you will see that you are spending a lot of time, wasting time, yeah, to attend to non-essential. For example, when people talk yes or no, and then your handphones, your WhatsApp trigger and make the noise. These are the prominence of the distractor, yeah. You install that distractor. So what can you do to overcome that? You disinstall that distractor. So meaning you don't have to install the sound, yeah, to distract you. So if there's anything that comes in, let be. If the group is essential, then you establish it for the functional purpose. When it's done, you may actually disconnect from there. So it become something functional for you when you need it for your work or for a better communication or, you know, discussion. But when you don't need it, then you can actually remove them, so you can lessen your distractor, yeah. And because of that, then you have more time, yeah, for whatever things that you need to do. So very important to cut down, yeah, because how much time is addiction, yeah, and how much time when you cut down, it becomes something that is useful for you to make good use of that time. And at the same time, you can actually make good use of that technology, yeah, for your well-being. And so you can have also time for your good practice. So in order to make good use of this, then number one is talking about the time span, yeah. So this is an action that you can take, and you don't have to depend on the government to do something for you, but you have to know the danger, yeah. Of course, they have their gratification, but you also have to know the danger and also the escape from there. So by choosing to do something smart, screen smart, yeah. So firstly is to help yourself to have the discipline, yeah, in doing this particular interneting work. And secondly is by being responsible, yeah, in even giving and introducing to younger children. So we have to also, as parents, be aware of that. Like just now I've mentioned that they are aged, they are to be introduced, and it's not so to introduce without coaching and getting the person to understand, and also looking into the prevention of addiction. Yeah. So now what can we do? The second thing is in order to do that, we can also look into as using it wisely. And what we can do is also probably looking at a offering of a prevention program, yeah, to educate parents, whether by schools. I think is so important. So the main thing is that in the training and in schools, in example, yeah, in Korea, there are so much effort that is being done to address this addiction that prevent people from living normally. And so what they do is to offer preventive program in the schools system, so that these are monitored properly and people are using it for the functional purpose and betterment for the society rather than addiction, yeah. Because why? It can lead to a lot of problems, especially the internet games. So the internet games can create a lot of violence. If you look at the 5 precepts, yeah, from the internet perspective, again, we can see that these games, especially the gamers, they play, yeah, without knowing the time. And there are many different games, violence games, games that introduce people to steal, games that kill, games that cheat, and all these, yeah, have make a lot of people, yeah, derail from their normal life. And again, as schools or parents, we have to understand at home or in schools, we should also come up with some preventive program, so that our children or people who are involved in this will be able to have a way out, so that they are not using it until they get addicted. And why people are so addicted with it? Because even as gamers, or as they create different kind of lifestyle in the virtual world, that they create like a certain character that you can be with. And so that when people play, yeah, and in this game, they thought, yeah, because in their real life they cannot, let's say, be very open to do things, not because it is helpful, but because they want the way they want, yeah. They create it in the virtual world, yeah, and in a game they can become anybody they want. From a female they can become male, from a person with normal hair to have any kind of hair they want. If they are tall, they want to be short, they can create. If they want to become different kind of personality, they can, and they can be reached in the virtual world. And so all these are to aggravate their self idea, and they can find it in the virtual world. Yeah, for example, that people spend a lot of money in virtual life, second life in the virtual world. People spend a lot also in gaming. And why? Because they start to find that it promotes and their what they call self-identity, and they recognize them, they make them a hero. So this where we have to also again understand how these have actually make them more deluded than ever. So in order to overcome that, then we have to be careful with things that we introduce to the children, because just as the Buddha said, mind is a forerunner of all things. Yeah, mind is a chief. Yeah, mind made that day. So if one speak or act with an impure mind, then suffering follows. So if one act or speak with a pure mind, then happiness follow. So when we want to introduce, or we ourselves are introducing ourselves to the internet, so make sure that we don't introduce our mind with all the violent thing, killing or stealing, and that encourages to have what they call addiction, even to sex, to alcohol, or that makes our mind cluttered, scattered, confused. So if we don't expose our mind to this, then we are safe. Yeah. So one is the avoidance, just like the 5 precepts. Yeah. Avoidance means we abstain from feeding our mind with all this information, or with all this unwholesomeness. Yeah. And all these actions, because they are so near to us, because virtual reality is very near to what is reality, but is actually innovated by software to do so. So we think it's real, but it's not real. In real life, it becomes a problem, right? So we have to understand this, and in order to escape ourselves, or to overcome this, we just do not feed our mind with the negative, or with those things that harm us. Yeah. And so then we can avoid being impacted by the negativity, or by the what they call the harm that they can cause our mind. So what can we do? We can actually feed our mind with the good things in internet. For example, let's say you are learning, listening to Dhamma talks. You are learning about how you can improve your knowledge in certain thing or work. But all these things have to be done with a balance. Yeah, it cannot be also obsessive. Yeah, because why? Again, like even in this time, there are some people will tell me, "Oh, Reverend, now we have a bit of internet or Zoom fatigue," because when they start to crave and chase after one thing over another, even for good things, we should not be overindulged in something. Yeah, so this is a reminder that the Buddha gave us. Yeah, it is always important for us to be mindful, yeah, with what we are doing. Yeah, so on this note, that we can see that when we do something, it is important to be mindful and to see to what are we feeling, whether to our body or to our mind. And that is very important. Then when we have this mindfulness, then we will be able to also discipline ourselves to what is essential and what is not essential. So the second thing that we should do is to cut down the screen time. Yeah, cut down the screen time. So whenever you wake up in the morning, now people are actually into morning, they wake up, handphone is number one. Then they go to the toilet with handphones, they eat with handphones, with the family also with their handphones. Then they go to work with handphones. While they are driving, they are having their handphones. And then in work also, they are working then with the handphones around them. And then when they come back again with the handphones, sleep with the handphones. So these are distracting, not only about the noble practice, is distracting even our normal life. So cut down the screen time to as you wish, especially make it a determination to do it, and you can allocate the time if you need. Let's say, for example, one day 3 times instead of one day, looking at the email 50 times, looking at your Twitter 50 times, looking at your WhatsApp, 100, 200 times. And so you can cut down to probably one day 3 times. Maybe after your meal, okay, the half hour, 1 hour, you allocate for that purpose. And then that is how, when you cut down the screen time, you also will cut down the time that you waste, yeah, in looking at the not essential. So how we can lead to noble practice? Just like to share with you, yeah, in the old days, yeah, there's this in the Dhammapada, there's a teaching, yeah, when the Venerable Moggallana, yeah, and Sariputta, before they were enlightened, they did a life like all of us. Of course, the entertainment, yeah, is not only now. In the past, during the Buddhist time until now, they are also entertainment. All right. So Sariputta and Moggallana, they were the one that used to like to go and frequent theater shows and all those things. Yeah. And so one day, when they were watching, yeah, and they chased after, yeah, a lot of shows and theaters. And one day, suddenly, Sariputta reflected, and this realization come to him. They said, why are we sitting here, yeah, watching the unreal and spending so much time for it and just passing our life like this? Is it fruitful or meaningful? So he was pondering, yeah. Then he said, why are we watching, yeah, the unreal? In the way of looking at it, you can see, yeah, we are really actually watching a lot of unreal to be real. This is what is called virtual world. So in the past, even my mother, when we were young, when we watched the TV, my mother will always say that in the Hokkien, they say, my mother will say, 做戲笑啊，看戲講 means those who are acting in the show, yeah, it's they are just only playing some crazy things, yeah, in the action, and the one that watch it is foolish, because why? Because they are actually watching something that is so real in the TV or in the show, but whatever they do, yeah, when they cry, you follow to cry. When they laugh, you follow to laugh. Yeah, and when they're sad, you follow to become sad. So they are like crazy people who are doing the action, but we are the one that follow their emotion. So in order for us to be out from here, we have to understand screen time. Yeah, please cut down the screen time so that you can actually truly live in the real time, where you can actually see around what is happening around you. Is it more happiness that is happening around you or inside you? Or is it more well-being that is increasing or lesser? Or is it more benefit that you are getting? And is it more freedom that you're experiencing? If it's not, please look within, not on the screen. Yeah. So whatever learning practice that we learned before, we must actually put it into practice. Yeah. So the Buddha said, it is the craving that causes all the suffering, but it is the craving that we need to relinquish. Yeah. Put aside, get rid of. Then we will be able to experience our noble way of life. Yeah. So in short, the screen time, yeah, that we put in have to be cut down, because this is a cause of our craving. This is a cause of our trouble. So when we cut down, we will be able to also cut down the suffering. And when we know how to make good use of it, meaning we are responsible, we are disciplined towards the usage, then it brings a lot of well-being. So in one way, we can see that be mindful of whatever that comes into our life, in making use of it, and everything, pros and the cons. So be wise to choose the what you call the wholesomeness of it, and also be wise to abstain, yeah, from what is unwholesome. So when we are able to do that, then the Buddha said your well-being is taken care of. For example, if you are free from those 6 things, yeah, the Buddha said that can actually deplete your well-being. For example, addiction, yeah, you should actually be free from addiction, as some have explained to you. Be free from hanging around at night, especially now with the internet, hanging at night. So free yourself from that. Put your handphone there when you want to go to sleep at night. Make sure that you sleep early, wake up early. Put your handphone away. Switch off the internet. Yeah. So probably like 10 o'clock. That is a agreement, yeah, in a family that you can do. And so that at night you can sleep well and wake up the next morning, wake up well. Yeah. So don't hang around at night, midnight. And the third one is avoid gambling. Yeah, internet gambling also. Do not avoid the pornography. Yeah, and also avoid being hooked by a lot of entertainments, and also avoid the laziness that come from not doing what is important, and do what is not important. So all this, and also avoid connected with the violence and all the fightings, all the conspiracy theories or whatever that make people confused, and the spread evil or hatred. So don't read all these things, because why? It only jeopardize your life, but not helping you in life. So we can do all this, and it's within our control, and we have to make good choices to be wise and smart, so as to be a smart screen, so that we can also have a proper digital diet, meaning how much we should eat, how much we should spend time on. Then if we can have that, then we'll be able to live a noble life, where we can focus our mind, and we can train our mind to even become greater, and so that whatever we wish to achieve, we'll be able to achieve. Yeah, a free life, a happy life, a fruitful life. So by doing so, we can see that it will bring well-being to ourselves, and well-being to our family, and also well-being to all other people. Yeah. So again, just before we close for this, we would remind that that distraction is distraction bad. yeah, well, distraction is actually bad enough, yeah, to make one's life, to ruin one's life, yeah. And getting distracted, yeah, also forces our brain to multitask, but you won't bring a project neatly to close, yeah. As you will keep working on it, some degree, while you attempt to shift your attention to another task competing for your attention. So with that, then we will never find the well-being or happiness or freedom. So in order to do that, remember, craving is the one that, you know, distract us. So what we need is to reduce those craving and help ourselves to practice the Noble Eightfold Path, knowing that the suffering that it brings, yeah, when we have distraction. And the way that we can do it is to practice mindfulness. So always just bring your mind to your breath, bring your mind to the present moment, and do something wholesome, that by practicing like right speech, right body actions, actions that bring about happiness, like generosity, kindness, and compassion, and also be sincere and truthful, yeah, in your practice or in your dealing with others. And remember to stay connected with another right associate that brings, the Buddha say, well-being. So disassociate with a fool. So addiction to internet is foolish. So stay with associate with the wise. Yeah. So make good use of it for functional purpose and for the betterment of mankind, and also incorporating a holistic way of life, that is by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. And it starts with your conviction and your confidence, yeah, in the Buddha's way, and in the abstaining the unwholesomeness of violence, killing or stealing, sexual misconduct, and also untruthfulness, abstain from it, and also abstain from addiction to alcohol, to drugs, and also stay away or abstain from addiction to internet. Yeah. So next is to ennoble our mind, yeah, with all those good qualities of kindness, respect of life, and also truthfulness, and mindful and calmness in mind, so that we can one day find that true freedom to our noble practice. So I thank you for your attention, for how we can actually address our daily life in a good manner, to walk the noble path and to abstain from our distraction, so that we can be able to free our mind from difficulty or stress or depression. So thank you very much.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Ayah, for the very, very comprehensive sharing on the internet addiction, the dangers of internet addiction, the ways to overcome it. And also, I particularly like the way Ayah brought about relating the Buddha's teachings to the internet addiction. Okay. Ayah, there are two questions at the moment.
All right.
One is on dependent origination.
Mm-hmm.
In the Buddhist, Dimla Yong asked, in the Buddhist teachings, there is a concept of dependent arising, which suggests that everything arises and is dependent on something else to exist. With regards to today's topic, distractions may arise due to different conditions, which we may not be able to control. How do we keep ourselves mindful and aware of the changes around us?
Right. Thank you, Bobby. Yes, we say yes, dependent origination. So when we talk about dependent origination, Buddha mentioned about how the mass of suffering occur, right? So, but it starts with actually, number one, it starts with ignorance, yeah, ignorant. So because of ignorance is condition the volitional action, and then the consciousness, and then it leads to the what they call after consciousness, it will lead to the Namarupa, the materiality and mentality. Yeah, means it's a process of energy that is developing, and then to the six senses, and then from six senses, yeah, to the contact, yeah, with the world, and then the feeling, yeah, and then from there craving, then clinging, becoming, and then birth, yeah, and then that goes to aging, then sickness, death, and then the whole mess of suffering, yeah, arises. So now we have this time, yeah, where whether we like it or we don't like it, yeah, we are forced into the digitalization, yeah, we are forced into this, yeah, but we still have a choice, yeah. So the choice is those for those who are wise, yeah. But if we think that we don't have choice, we are forced into it, and we have to act like them, we have to live like them, we have to get stressed, we have to get depression, and we have to get all the negativity of it, that means we are not making our choice. We are not wise enough. So wisdom is important. Yeah, knowledge may be important, but wisdom is even more important. Yeah. So what is this wisdom that we are talking about? So by not knowing, of course, we are ignorant. Yeah. So we have to know what is the pros of internet. What is the how to say the contrast, of this, and we need to know. But a lot of people are very ignorant about digitalization. All we know is that, well, oh, there's a gadget, then we get the gadget, and then we use it, and we just follow the trend. But what is the consequences of that? We have to know. Yeah. So again, we look at the cause and the effect and the condition. So now we have a condition that we have this internet. But what is the cause and the consequences of this? Yeah. So we have to look into it. So if the cause and consequences, let's say we say, oh, technology is a gift. What gift that the technology can give us? So for example, when you want to find, let's say, to learn something, yeah, now you can find in the internet, yeah. When you want to understand, let's say, a disease, how to tackle, you can also find some good research, yeah, to give you some perspective. And when you want to learn language, let's say, you can even learn, yeah, and they can pronounce for you, they can share with you what are the meanings of all these things. So it's so rich, yeah. So, and when you want to actually look at different perspectives, let's say you want to analyze something, then you can also research into it. So I would say it's very good for research, to guide people to language thing. I think it's a very good thing. And many other things that I find that like in search of something, you can very easily find it. Yeah. So that is a quite very good, powerful things. Yeah. That helps to enhance some of the knowledge, and also some decision making. But ultimately, decision is to be made by you. So it's the user, yeah. So technology is a gift, but the user, if the user is well informed, if the user is wise, they can make a wonder of internet, yeah. But if the user is very ignorant, this cause a lot of harm to them, yeah. And then we can see that what harm is that in the past, let's say, they are not exposed to all these unwholesome things so much. For example, in the past, we are not exposed to, let's say, internet gambling, pornography, violent things, yeah, and all the untruthful speech, or videos, or shows, and to encouraging people to have what do you call those scam and whatever, yeah. If we don't mix, then that's it. But now different. Internet has bring this into your house, into your home, into you, yeah, and at your bedroom. So it is no more like in the past, where let's say you say, oh, children, don't go out, don't mix with people who are addict, don't mix with people who drink, yeah, don't go out at night, right? But now this has transformed in a very subtle thing that is inside your house. It's just a time bomb in the room, yeah. Living room now become dead room because very few family members sitting down there, you know, sharing their life, their joy and everything. No, now it becomes a dead room. Individual room become their world. Yeah, and just by doing this, because they are ignorant, so they do not know, they don't coach, let's say, their children or even they themselves. They bring it into their individual small room, and that room becomes their whole world, their computer. All right. And what happened? All these things that the Buddha mentioned, especially the Buddha said, in the Sigalo Vada Sutta, there are 14 things that one should not do. Okay, why? Because it will bring ruin, to their well-being, to their mind, to their consequences in this life or next life. Yeah. For example, the Buddha said, number one, they should not, they should not, number one, kill. Yeah. So abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct, and abstain from lying. Yeah. And then the other four that they should avoid if they this motive that in mind. So what are the motive that or the underlying condition? That is, if you do something, the Buddha say, don't act out of greed, don't act out of hatred, don't act out of delusion, and don't act out of fear. Yeah. So these are the four. Yeah. If you have this in mind and you try to you are trying to behave based on this, the Buddha said, please abstain from it, because why? It will cause you harm. Then the sixth that the Buddha said, that very clearly it can deplete your wealth, and ruin your virtue and ruin your what they call well-being, whether it's name, your personality, or even your well-being as you connected with others, or to your family, and to a lot of things that can happen. Is that the Buddha say, avoid what? Avoid drinking, then gambling, staying on the street at night, but now it's transformed. Staying late night on the bed, not on the street, but late night on the bed, and then entertainment every day, thinking where can I get entertainment, where got singing, where got symbol, where got dancing, where got things that happen in the world that you want to know, and it's so entertaining to you, and so this is also another thing that the Buddha said, when the mind is engaged like that, then it causes you a lot of problem, right? Then next is also become laziness, because why? It changed your life, and time to sleep, you don't sleep, time to work, you don't work, time to wake up also, you don't wake up. And nowadays people, they sleep very late, 3-4 o'clock, and then the next day they wake up for brunch. A lot of people are doing that, and a lot of parents are also encouraging that. They themselves are like that. So these are the conditions which is very harmful to the family. So if you are ignorant about it, and we do that, and what good does it bring to us? So yes, condition is there that we have to be learning and using. So if you can take technology as a gift, then it works wonder. But if you abuse technology, it can ruin the life even to the worst. So that's why just now I mentioned, there are more stress, more depression, more suicide. Why? It's because when people do not know how to make good use of this internet. So it can be used for good, but it also can be used for very harmful effect. For example, for games that they want to release, I was made understood that it is tested before, with all the scientific proof that for they hire the psychologists, they hire the neuroscientists to test, that when they present this game, how people will be able to be hooked, addicted into it. And so I was very aware of this, because it is so important for us to know so how addictive it is. So I share with you, when I was young earlier, my brother bought a PlayStation for my nephew. So he was playing, and so lunchtime was there. So we call him for lunch, and he said, wait. So we call him, he said, wait. And then after that, I have a thought. I said, is it that interesting? So the next day, I also tried to play, and I want to see what happened. Yeah. So as I was playing, yes, I was so much into it. And my sister called me for lunch, and I told her, wait, yeah, the same thing I do, yeah. And again, she called. I said, wait, yeah. By the time I realized that, yes, I need to stop for lunch already, 1 hour has passed, yeah. And then next thing that I realized that my thumbs and my index finger was reddish and painful, yeah. But I didn't realize that. I was so much into it, like I said, because why? It gives you gratification, excitement. It drives your adrenaline, yeah, and it makes you addicted, yeah. By the time you realize it, with so-called, I'm quite a sound person, right? I already wasted 1 hour. What more about the playing time, Where do I get to? I score something, yes, but that's why we seek recognition, we seek gratification, we seek all this, yeah, identity, and the internet gives you, and so you're so proud, you're so happy. But in real life, what happened? Yeah, you don't eat at the right time, yeah, and you may skip your meal, and you don't do what you need to do, and you just play your time, your precious lifetime, and pass on like that. So it is a very sad thing, yeah. So it's very important. Yes, we have this condition now, but we have to understand what is the cause and effect of it, the consequences. So when we see the consequences, then we make the effort, yeah. If we wish for freedom, happiness, true happiness, we have to keep to the principles of practice and make good use of technology as a gift and not as abuse or as a disaster. So I think in this condition, I think, remember, we have a choice. We must have the knowledge of what it is and how to make good use of it. And we educate our children, we educate the school students so that they know how to use it functionally for good use, and also with responsibility and discipline. And at the same time, that they can actually grow and develop their potential to their fullest. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful answer. Yeah. There's another question from Sister Jennifer. In the corporate world, immediate response and answers are demanded with the use of IT today for survival. How can we balance this demand with our cultivation to be peaceful and happy? And not being able to live up to their expectations may render us not relevant.
So I think on this, yeah, again, it comes back to the usage, yeah, expectation. This is where that a lot of people are getting so stressful, yeah, because trying to fulfill expectation. Reality is reality, yeah. Expectation can be met in certain way, but when we live by expectation, then we never live our life, because why? We are living just to fulfill others' expectation. And expectation can be quite dangerous, yeah. So I share with you one simple spiritual journey that I have, yeah, and I realized, yeah, and I think it's always that we have to be wise and smart, and we have a choice, yeah, wise choice. For example, yeah, in the past, I used to think in this way, yeah, and I was very much into wanting to learn about spirituality and practice. And when there's an opportunity, when I go for pilgrimage in India, there's an opportunity to shave my head, yeah, and so to shave. So I was wondering, yeah, although I have a good wish, yeah, to fulfill that, but when the real time comes, I start to be a bit shaken, or be a bit like, should I or should I not? Yeah. So I have the opportunity now to shave off my hair. And so I was wondering, because it's about maybe another 1 month time, Chinese New Year is coming. So I say, if I shave my hair, then how would I, look like? What will be other people's thinking about me? Yeah. So, trying to think how other people think about me or expect something from me. And because of that thought, I didn't raise up my hand. Yeah, so I was still pondering whether I should or I should not, right? And then my friend who knew my intention, yeah, that I have this aspiration of to renounce one day, and she was telling me, Xuan, I know you are going to shift, yeah. So she said that to me. When she said that to me, again I ponder, why did I not think in the first time that, that I would like, I very much like to shave, yeah, but why did I delay? Yeah, and it's because why? I'm trying to fulfill everybody's expectation towards me, because Chinese New Year is coming. Just a haircut, shaving, can put me off. Yeah, but what I realize is, when after that I realize, I think, if I shave, so what is the problem? Yeah, if I decided to shave, what is the problem? So I think to myself, it's not a problem of them, but it's a problem of me. Whether can I accept myself or not? Yeah, can I live with that or not? Or is there any harm towards others? No. Yeah, and then with that, then I decided to shave. And after I shave, then I started to learn about how expectation comes, yeah, and how people perceive things, okay, and whether we should follow them or not, yeah. And so what happened is, after shaving, the first thing is that when I was in the street, the Indian man looked at me, stared at me, and I was wondering, why is he staring at me? And then I forgotten that I've shaved. Yeah, now I'm bald. Yeah, so it's very rare to find a female bald in the Indian society. Okay, so that's how he stared at me, and then only I realized, oh, I've shaven. And then when I came back to work, I didn't put anything on my head, or do anything different. It's just a bald head, and with my office attire, I went into the office. The first thing, one of my sales exec looked at me, and when I normally I'm very friendly, I'll greet people, and when I greet him, he got stunned, and he couldn't realize that who is this person. But attire-wise, he can recognize, but head-wise, he cannot recognize. Yeah, so he was like shocked. Okay, then I just smiled, I passed. And then other than that, that when those business people come, yeah, so when they see me, they got shocked too. Yeah, but what is in their mind? Yeah, you'll be surprised. People who are very much into entertainment, into gratification of life and all those things, they look at somebody who's bald with that kind of idea. Is it because she is having heartbroken in relationship, or because her mind is not very centered now, or cuckoo, or or something that has shocked their life, that they have to do that? Okay, that is how they think. Then other people would think it as my boss, he got no hair, and then when he sees I don't have hair, then he would think, why you actually shave, because he has to comb his hair every day and cover his head, you see. And there you are, you let go. Yeah. And then my boss wife, when we have dinner, the first thing that they see me, they say, wow, you're so bold, bold. Yeah. And because why? They are into fashion. And there are other people that my neighbor saw me. She's also like shocked and what? But when during New Year I invited her, and she asked, "You don't mind if I ask you, your head not cancer?" I said, "No, it's actually, I went pilgrimage, and I offered to the Buddha." So you see how people look at you, yeah, what they expect. So same in the internet things, yeah. So people, when they are very indulged, very addicted, that is how they think. They want speed, they want everything. But are we going to follow them? I thought, my realization at that time is that, you just have a haircut, yeah. You just shave your head, you just have a haircut. But there's so many kinds of different perception and expectation on you, yeah. And then you can see, if you're going to live the life of how people think about you, you will never live your life, yeah. So you have to know, okay, what internet can help in the office, what internet can help in your project, and how you should make use of it to help you, yeah, to because come to the objective is to present the project well, yeah, and to be how to say, each of everything have its own time, yeah, frame. But you should not actually be unrealistic, yeah, to want to furnish or want to finish something or want to do something unrealistically without giving the space and time to really work things out, yeah. For example, you want to bake a cake, yeah, you need to go through all those processes. So if somebody else lose that grounding, I think we have to ground them back. I think then that will bring a lot of what is it, success and reality in life, that we can move on and make things happen, and we can also make things happen successfully and happily, yeah, not stress and people get into difficulty, and then of course the project won't be successful. So we have to first understand it, practice it, understand it, and share with others. So have confidence in doing what is right, what is noble. Yeah, because it's easily to be shaken. Yeah, people say to learn good, 3 years; to learn bad, 3 days. Now 3 seconds. Now verse, like I say, 0.33 seconds. You can live in the virtual world already, and there are billions of them. So be one who is unique and who is noble, and I think that will help us to live a good life. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aya. I think there's one more question, but I think it's time for...
If it's short one, it's okay.
Okay, it's from Sister Caroline Sukiotu Aya. Yeah. I'm listening to your talk together with Chintaka and Amiya, her children. When you touch about the virtual world on how they can do what they want there and not in the real world. Hence, this has created the addiction to the online games. Chintaka refuses to listen and believe. How do I convince both of them to see the cause of their addiction and how this addiction is harming them? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Carol, for also looking at this. And as a parents, I think we have to be a wise parents. The Buddha mentioned, yeah, when we educate our children, I think if in times of when we talk about food for the body, I think everybody have a very fast response. Yeah, when you say food for the body, I think you want to feed your children with good food, healthy food, nutritious food. Very few parents want to feed their children with junk food, right? So we have to see that it's the same to the mind. Now, handphone internet is a food that we feed to the mind. Yeah. And so it is very important for the parents from very beginning, yeah, to discuss and to ask them about what they think, yeah. So this question was put to me on one day, one house, Dana, and the mother told me, say, so Aya, what is the effect of internet, because she wants children and neighbors' children and friends' children to also listen. So instead of telling them, I asked the children. First, I asked them, what do you think is good about internet? Wow. So all the children answer me. The children say, oh, internet, we can connect with friends, we can play games, we can see shows, we can learn language, we can do arts. So they were very excited to answer me. And then the next question I give them, what do you think internet can effect, or the bad things about internet? I asked them. Then some children say, oh, internet, sometimes they teach us bad things, so it can become bad because of that. Then some of them say, oh, you see too much, then we got to wear spec. Yeah. And then some say, oh, internet sometimes very violent. They say, yeah, the game very violent. Sometimes friend can criticize and bully you. Yeah. And so they are the one that tell me. Yeah. And then from there, then only I share with them. I said, very good. I said, you know what is good, what is not good. So what should we do? Yeah. So isn't it that we should take the good and then avoid the bad one? So then we get all the good, right? So, so then we help the children to see it. Instead of we telling them, oh, not good, not good, not good, they won't listen. Yeah. But if we start to let them tell us, then they will start to see. Because why? We are helping them, coaching them to discover by themselves. Then when they understand, they will be able to do what is proper. And I think that can be helpful for them. So we try to still find ways, like I say, feed them with nutritious food, yeah, in the internet. And you can work with them, you can play with them, but then it's something nutritious for the mind. Something is helpful, fruitful, like maybe word games or learning language, or those kinds of things. So they find the goodness of internet, and when they can make good use of that, that will be very helpful and successful for them. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ayah, for the wonderful Dharma talk and the handling of questions. Ayah, could you please lead us in the sharing of merits, and then I think it's time to end because of our lunch time.
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, so let us compose our mind and recalling to mind all the good time spent, to pay attention, to listen to this Dhamma talk, and also to clarify our mind from doubts, and the 5 ways and means in developing our mind further, in practicing what is noble for our well-being and for the well-being of family, and also for our relatives and friends. May all this merit continue to pave way for you to grow in strength, in confidence, and in all your effort to abandon what is unwholesome and unskillful, and to develop and cultivate all the wholesome states, skillful states, so be able to have higher knowledge and higher wisdom to penetrate into the profound truth that leads to the ultimate freedom. We also share this merit with all the Devas, the Nagas of mighty power, all the Dhamma protectors, and all the guardian deities, including your own guardian deities and the guardian deities of your place and the surrounding. May they too rejoice in this merit and continue to protect your well-being, your family's well-being and safety, and guide you all to the righteous path and help you all in times of need. May they also continue to protect and prolong the Buddha Dhamma, Buddha Sasana, and all the Viharas for the well-being, for the happiness, and for the benefit of the many. And in due time, may they too liberate themselves. Also, we dedicate this merit for the spiritual well-being of our departed relatives, teachers, and friends. May they too rejoice and continue to move on to take good rebirth and be able to grow in the Dhamma and one day to attain the bliss of Nibbana. We also well wish our community will also continue to practice well and for their well-being and happiness. And may our country and the world be stable and be in harmony. Our rulers and leaders rule and lead righteously. And may there be due season for good weather and good harvest. And may all beings be well and safe. And may all hearts be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhita. Sukhihotu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Ayah, for the wonderful sharing. And thank everyone for coming, and looking forward to seeing you again. Our next talk will be on the 15th of November with Sri Dr. Victor Wee sharing on metta, loving kindness. Thank you. Thank you again, Ayah.
Thank you. Sukhihotu.
Sukhihotu.